What's up, y'all? You're listening to the Eagles post-game recap. I'm Alex Miller, joined always by Robert Cessna. We're inside the press box at Kyle Field following Texas A&M's 38-23 win. I don't even know where to start, Cease. I mean, holy cow. I mean, A&M's dead in the water at halftime. It's still not looking good starting in the third quarter. All of a sudden, Marcel Reed's the quarterback, and it's like the whole game dynamic just changed, and LSU had no idea what to do on either side of the ball.
I was going to say, we could just say Marcel Reed and just leave. I mean, that's it. You just need to say 2 words, and it's over, because that was the long and the short of it, because the offense perked up. You touched on it. LSU had no clue because they had a pass defense set the whole way. And that happens sometimes in all sports. Suddenly a pitcher can't get somebody out, everybody gets hits. I mean, you'll very seldom see this. LSU could do absolutely nothing on either side, and A&M could have hung more on if they'd wanted to.
Well, Marcel Reed, he finishes the night, 9 carries, 62 yards, 3 touchdowns, only threw 2 passes, completed both of them. One of them was the 54-yard bomb over the top to Noah Thomas. You know, how gutsy a call was it for Elko to go to Reed when he did, and how genius does he look right now because it actually worked?
Actually, I don't think it was that. I think he probably should. Some people say he should have gone early, like Notre Dame. I mean, you got to look at what Weigman did against Mississippi State. He was like 6 of 14 or something. And I get it. It wasn't all him. But once again if everybody's booting the ball, you bring in a new pitcher, don't throw ground balls. I mean, you have to make a change. And a lot of people wondered, and it's rightfully so, if you ran into the same deal with Notre Dame where you're losing, would you pull the quarterback? And he did. And and gutsy, yeah, because coaches are always leery of changing quarterbacks. But also, he went to a guy that won 3 games this year. He was 3-0, and we saw Weigman's record beat Missouri, good one, beat a bad McNeese team, but struggled against Mississippi State, lost to Notre Dame. So I didn't think, you got to give him credit, and I did in my column as well, but once again, it was somewhat a logical choice, particularly when you see the results.
Weigman finished 6 of 18 for 64 yards, 6 less than what Reed threw. Now, given one of them was 54, sacked 4 times. A lot of those came on scrambles when the play just wouldn't develop. And credit to LSU, they had a good game plan in the first half. You know, they sold out to stop the run. They made A&M one-dimensional. Weigman wasn't able to create much with his legs at all. He got a couple of decent runs, but it was not what Marcel brought to the table. And it was very evident from the very first play that Marcel got in what the MO was with him in there. It was, we're going to do read option. And Marcel said after the game, LSU was just crashing the whole game. And once he got in there, you know, he's able to read those ends, and he's just zipping right through the seam. And what was crazy was he said LSU didn't adjust. And how much of a coaching win was this for A&M beyond just the X's and O's?
Well, once again, it's the same where if Weigman throws a down and out 15 yards on a dime, there's nothing you can do. I mean, it works both ways. This is a bad pass defense. If A&M would have executed their pass defense like everybody else has against LSU, there's a reason they're like 112th in pass defense, but A&M wasn't executing. They did execute. What does A&M do best? They run the football. And, you know, he alluded to that, saying, well, you know, we weren't getting what we wanted because they wanted to run the ball, and then they were throwing the ball a lot in first downs. I went back and looked, like 11 first downs, and they were behind the chains too much. I don't care what offense you run in the SEC, you can't be behind the chains. Know what happened to LSU? LSU was one-dimensional because they had to throw the ball. They were behind, so LSU just teed off, and Musmauer looked horrible in the second half because even if sometimes you just run, they only need to rush for 75 yards and pass for 400, but they couldn't even get 75. And I say what I started with, 2 words, Marcel Reed.
On defense, tale of 2 halves, of course, for A&M. First half, the tackling was terrible. I mean, it looked like they hadn't practiced tackling in weeks, and LSU was just getting whatever they wanted in the passing game. Then in the second half, A&M really clamps down. Elko kind of explained how, you know, it seemed like LSU just kind of gave up in the run game. I mean, they had 23 rushes tonight for 24 yards. In the second half, they ran the ball 12 times. They had 0 total yards. Now, some of that's negated because Nussmeier was sacked a couple times. But needless to say, LSU abandoned the run game. They were all in on the passing game. And when A&M figured it out, it seemed like that was the end of LSU's success on offense, sans the one drive they had for the touchdown that made it the one-score game, but A&M went back and answered immediately. I
thought both teams felt pressure tonight. I felt LSU should have been up about 27-7 at halftime. They missed 2 field goals, so I don't think you should. I think they should have had 1 field goal and had a touchdown. That's an extra points. They should be 27, but they didn't take advantage. A&M didn't leave any points on the field once Marcel Reed came out there. And one team played with confidence in the first half. It was LSU, but they didn't cash in enough. One team played with confidence in the second half, and it was A&M. And the team that's really confident right now is A&M.
Well, A&M, of course, 5-0 in the SEC for the first time in 13 years as a league member. They're in sole possession of first place of the league heading into November. I mean, how crazy is it that we're even talking about this, about A&M at this point of the season, given where things started?
I think it all goes back to it's college football today. I mean, you know, he brought in how many transfers? 15 freshmen. He's got
and like 11 of them start.
11 of them start.
And one of them made a huge difference on defense tonight.
So they have no reference of what this program does. All they have is this team. And you're seeing that across college football. Some teams are already giving up, a Florida State or something. What are they playing for? Because anybody, and A&M didn't come into this season really with aspirations. They were hoping maybe they get to the college football playoff. This team can still get better. They made too many stupid penalties tonight. I mean, they did a lot of things in the first half that would get them beat, but they won.
Yeah, they had 10 penalties for 97 yards.
And 2 of them came in one play for 27 yards that the team's going to punt, that you're winning. But once again, they won. It's like saying, you know, how did you miss the 5 easiest questions on the test, son? Go, well, I got 95. You know, what else you want? You know, it's A&M is so used to losing these type of games, but now they're winning them. And you know, they're sitting here, they're giddy. Everybody's giddy. You're right. Mike Elko made great decisions. The players made great. Wegman might come back and take this personally. He might be better next time he gets a chance. Is that next week, 2 weeks? You don't know. And Elko said before, he doesn't treat quarterback like any other position. When we asked him about that before, he said, he goes, oh, I'll change quarterbacks. If you remember right, when he stuck by Wegman, but now he made the choice. So he's a man of his word. You got to give him credit. And give him, what, 6-7-1? I forget what the record is.
7-1, 5-0 in the SEC. Yeah, the big question everybody wants to know now is, who's A&M's quarterback? Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, because in one sense, Reed is now 4-0 as a starter. He's won 3 games in the SEC.
He didn't start this game.
Oh, yeah, good point. Well, he's won. Forget that.
You need to read my column, because I have that line already written and posted, because I said, like, in my book, he's 4-0 as a starter.
Well,
and he's in your book too.
He's 3-0 as a starter. He won A&M a 4th critical game. What's evident is that the reason A&M went to him tonight is he brought something to the table that they thought could change the game, and it ultimately did. When A&M played Arkansas, it was tough sledding. Let's be honest, right? And Wegman comes back. He plays really well against Missouri. Elko's going to have it might be a hard decision on what to do going forward next week.
And a lot of defense to Elko is, if A&M passes the ball well and does things, they win the game. But they didn't win the game because they weren't able to pass. So he knows, I got to make a change. If you're Elko, we're not running the ball. And maybe he's upset about his receivers not getting separation or whatever, but it does start with the quarterback. And I have to laugh is, when word came in that he's gone, they get an interception. I mean, actually the comeback started on defense, not on offense. But like I said, it's all Marcel Reed. And I'm with you, Alex, moving forward. It's a nice decision to have, possibly. But I think Reed has proven to us he's more than a runner. That 54-yard pass was on the money. Weigman didn't throw one like that all night long.
Yeah, Weigman struggled at times to throw. I mean, there were a couple that LSU probably should have intercepted and didn't, and he was very fortunate to not have it go that way.
And I will say he was hit hard in the shoulder twice, and I didn't know that hurt shoulder, so I don't know if that might have hurt him, but he didn't look comfortable.
Well, Cease, how would you grade A&M's performance overall from just the initial take?
It's like you flunked all the pop quizzes and you aced the final. I mean, you know, it's like, that's what I'm sitting there thinking about how they're going to lose that game. And I go, they could be lucky it's not worse. I go, they can't even get the Musmeyer. They don't even know who Lacey is. I mean, he dropped about 3. They should have caught another touchdown pass. But A&M wins going away. I mean, LSU didn't want any more of A&M. I mean, they wanted to get the heck out of here.
Well, A&M's got a big game next week at South Carolina. It's going to be in prime time again on ABC. You know, what's the challenge for A&M now? Because South Carolina's the place. The last time they went there in a night game, it was not very favorable for the Aggies. But the feeling's high right now here in Aggie land.
It's all about A&M now. They got everything in front of them. It's all about A&M. A&M is where everybody else wanted to be in the SEC. And if you'd have told me that it wouldn't have been Georgia, wouldn't have been Tennessee, wouldn't have been Alabama, wouldn't have been Ole Miss, wouldn't have been Texas, it is Texas A&M. And they've earned that right. And so everybody wanted to know everything. They want to know who's playing a cornerback, who's playing here. Funny, it's all about A&M. And after that Notre Dame game, whew, and you think how far they've come, they've now beaten 2 top 10 teams.
Well, we still got a little bit more work to do. Thanks for tuning in to the post-game recap. Be sure to check theeagle.com for all of our coverage on A&M's win over LSU. We'll be back next week as the Aggies get ready to go to South Carolina.